Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this bandana type jelly thing. I don't really know. Bandana headpiece here. You can make it a few different sizes. So what happens is it's just kind of like a little triangle, and then it ties, excuse my mess, underneath here. You see that? Like that. And you know, just make it bigger if you want it to hang down longer, shorter, if you need it for somebody smaller. That, you know, you get the gist of it. It looks kind of like that. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like, not on a mannequin. If you look in the description box, and it'll give some measurements and some sizes and whatnot that you can choose from. But it's pretty much, this will fit pretty much anybody, you know, any adult or whatever. It does start from the bottom up. I don't remember if I mentioned that in the video or not, and it does have a reverse single crochet at the top, which you don't have to do that if you don't want. Some ties, which of course are highly customizable if you recognize this stitch. I did recently do a rectangle wrap with this stitch, and I had some people ask me if I could do a triangle shawl in this stitch. So here it is. If you do not want to make this particular bandana, you can just don't do the strappy deals. Just keep going. It's just a 2-row repeat. Keep going with it until you get the shawl as big as you want it to be. It's actually quite a beautiful shawl, and it makes a very, very cute bandana. So why don't we go ahead and get started, and we'll talk about the yarn that I used. Okay, for this particular video, I use Lion Brand 100% Super Wash Merino. It is classified as a lightweight number 3. I would say it's more on a between a 2 and a 3. It's a very, very lightweight 3, but nonetheless, it is classified as a lightweight 3. They're 360 yards per ball. Probably gonna need about, I don't know, not much, maybe 100 yards. 100 yards probably, I would say. You don't have to use this yarn. You don't have to use the suede yarn. You can use any yarn that you want. I would, though, highly recommend that you use some sort of DK or the lightweight 3 or a 2-weight yarn. That would be my recommendations for this type of bandana, especially if you want to be wearing it in the summertime. Merino is actually excellent for the summer, but cotton, bamboo, anything like that. You want it to be a lighter weight yarn, but of course you can use the 4-weight if you choose. Now, whether you use the 3-weight or the 2-weight, I do highly recommend as well using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. That would be for a 2 or a 3-weight. If you're using a thicker weight yarn, go a hook and a half size bigger than what it says on the label. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin. This is actually a pretty easy to do. It's just a 2-row repeat once you get the repeat down here. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with a slip knot on our hook. Oh, I'm sorry, the color that I'm using, I didn't tell you that, did I? It's called a mustard seed. Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a slip knot on our hook. You can use the magic circle here if you prefer. I'm not going to use the magic circle. I'm going to do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch to form a ring. Like that. Alright. And I'm going to chain 1. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to be working through the center of the ring. We're going to work 2 double crochets through the center of that ring. So there's 1, and there's 2. And then we are going to work a chain of 2. 1, 2, and we're going to go back in again and work 2 more double crochets through the center of the ring. There's 1, and there's 2, again, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Go back through the center of the ring and work 2 more double crochets. There's 1 and there's 2. One more time, we're going to chain a 2 and go back through the center of the ring and work 2 more double crochets. And I do apologize. So that is row 1 there. Go ahead and pull that center circle to close it shut a little bit. I do apologize. This is actually worked. I didn't tell you. It's actually worked from the bottom out. All right. So we're actually starting at the bottom of a work. So that completes row 1, and you should have 1, 2, 3 chain 2 spaces and 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 2 double crochet for row 1. And we will go ahead and we'll start row 2. We're going to chain 1 again, which does not count as a stitch, and we're going to go back into this first chain space and we're going to work 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, go back into the same space and work 2 double crochets. So what we just did is how every single row begins, just like that. Okay, now we're going to work a chain of 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to come over here to the center chain space right here, and we're going to work a V-stitch. So for this particular pattern, a V-stitch consists of 1 double crochet, a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and go back into the same spot and work another double crochet. So like I said, for this particular design, the V-stitch is 1 double, chain 3, 1 double. And then we're going to chain 2. And this is how we're going to end every single row. When you get to this chain 2 space here at the end, we're going to work 2 double crochets into it. There's 1, 2, chain 2, go back in and work 2 more double crochets. So every row begins the same and it always ends the same. So that ends row 2. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start row 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to start like we always start every row. We're going to skip that first double and slip stitch into the next. And then slip stitch into the chain space. Chain 1, and we're going to work 2 doubles. Just 1. There's 2, and then we're going to chain 2, go back in and work 2 more double crochets. 1, and there's 2. Now we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to work 1 double crochet right here into this next chain space. So right here. And then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in this V-stitch right here in the middle, we're going to work 5 double crochets right through the space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we just have to make this side match this side. So we're going to chain 2 again. And we are going to work 1 double crochet right here into this chain space. And then we're going to chain 2 again. And we are going to end the same way that we always end in this last chain 2 space, is with 2 doubles, a chain of 2, and 2 double crochets. That's how we end every row. Now we're going to go ahead and start row 4. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to start the row like we start every row, skipping the first double, slip stitching into the next, and then into the chain space, chain 1, and working 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. Just 1, 2, chain 2, and then we're going to work, oops, sorry about that, 2 doubles back in the same spot. And then we're going to chain 2. Now what we're going to do, in the first chain space right here, we're going to work a V-stitch into this space. So we're going to work a double, chain of 3, and another double crochet. Just like that. Now without doing any chains or anything, we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of these 5 double crochets right here. So don't chain or anything after that V-stitch. Just go directly over here to these 5 doubles and work 1 double crochet into each of them. And it might seem a little squishy for the first few rows. That's fine. It'll straighten out the more rows that you do. So don't worry. Don't be concerned if it's getting squishy on you. Like that. And now we're just going to kind of do the same thing. So without chaining, what we're going to do is in not this space but the space here is a V-stitch. So we're going to work a double, chain 3, and a double, and then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to end the row how we end every row, into this last space, which was with 2 doubles, a chain 2, and 2 doubles. Just like that. And that's going to end. I see how mine's all wonky looking. That's all right. It'll be okay. That's going to end row 4. Now, rows 5 and 6 are the repeat rows. We'll just keep repeating rows 5 and 6, and it'll just keep getting, you know, bigger, wider and wider as you go. So we'll go ahead and we'll start row 5 the same way that we start every row. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and skip the first one, go to the next one, and slip stitch. Slip stitch into the chain space, chain 1, and then we do our 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 2. And we are going to work 1 double crochet into this first space. Just like that. And then we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And in the next V-stitch, we're going to work 5 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Just like that. And then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in this group of 5 double crochets right here from the previous row, we're going to work 1 double crochet into the first of the 5. And then without chaining or anything, we're going to come to the last of the group of 5 and work a double crochet into that one. Just like that. And now we're just going to kind of repeat what we just did. We're going to chain 2 like that. We're going to work 5 double crochets into the next V-stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 2, and we're going to end by putting one double crochet into this last chain space right here. Not in, I'm sorry. Put one double crochet into that last chain space, and then we're going to chain 2 and end how we always end in this last chain 2 space, which is 2 doubles, a chain 2, and 2 doubles. So it's forming its own little border as we go. Just like that. Begin row 6, which is the final row of the repeat. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Now you might notice row 6 is very similar to row 4, except for we're going to be getting a little bit bigger. So we need to start the way we always start. All right. So now we're going to start off in this first, we're going to chain 2, I'm sorry. And then in this first chain 2 space here, we're going to work a V-stitch. So we're going to go in here and we're going to work a double crochet, a chain of 3, and another double crochet. Just like that. Now without doing any chains at all, we're not going to do any chains. We're going to put a double crochet into these next 5 double crochets here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5, just like that. And now right here in this spot that we did on the previous row, we're going to do a V-stitch in right through this space here. But don't do any chains or anything. We're just going to yarn over and go through this space, and we're going to do a double crochet, a chain of 3, go back into the space, and double crochet, just like that. So now it kind of looks a little bit like an X. Again, without doing any chains, we're going to put 5 double crochets into our next 5 doubles here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Without doing any chains, we're going to go to this chain 2 space right here. We're not going to do anything here, but right here, and work a V-stitch. So a double, chain 3, and a double, and then we're going to chain 2 and end how we always end, right here in this last space with 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. So that is it. We're just going to keep repeating rows 5 and 6, and you'll always gather up another little set here every time you finish a repeat. Like I say, I know it looks a little bit squished, but it'll be better. So for row 7, we'll just be repeating row 5, you know, where we're just going to do what we do at the beginning every time. Only it's just going to get bigger, you know, each time we do a set of repeats, it'll just be bigger. That's all. So row 5. We are going to start out by putting a chain 2, I'm sorry, and 1 double crochet right here into the very first stitch. That. And then we're going to chain 2. So we're just repeating row 5. And we're going to work 5 doubles into the next V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to chain 2. And then over this set of 5 doubles here, we're going to put a double crochet into the first of the 5. And now we're not going to chain, but we're going to put a double crochet into the last of the 5, just like we did before. And that makes the bottom part of the little X that we made here. So after that, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to put 5 double crochets in this chain 3, or this V-stitch here that we did on the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 2, come over here, double crochet in this group of 5, double crochet into the first double crochet of that group of 5, and then without chaining, double crochet into the last double crochet of that group of 5, chain 2, and we're going to put 5 doubles in the last V-stitch. So remember, this is row 7, we're just repeating row 5. And then for row 8, we will just repeat row 6. And like I said, it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger as you go. Okay, so I have done a total, excuse me, of 16 rows, and that is starting from row 1, and I ended on a row 6 repeat. Now you can make yours bigger or smaller, but why don't we go ahead and take a quick measurement here across the top. So I just tied off after that last row. Okay, we'll do the straps, but we'll do them differently. If this stitch looks familiar, yes, I just did do a rectangle wrap with this exact stitch. So if you want to turn this into a shawl, by all means, just keep repeating those 2 rows. But anyways, so mine's measuring about 18 inches across, and with width here. Close to 9, 8.5 to 9. All right. Okay, so that is good for me as far as sizing goes. All right. Remember, you can make yours different sizes. I'll put different sizes below. If you was to do it a little bit bigger, and you know, which would make it like if you did a couple more rows, and it'll tell you about it in the description. It'll just give you like a little bit more coverage in the back. You can make it smaller. It's up to you. But anyways, let's go ahead and make the straps. Now the straps is also really depending on how big you want your straps to be. So you get whatever side looks good to you, facing you. I'm gonna go with where I just tied off, and I think I like that side. Okay, although it doesn't matter. So we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook for the straps. And we're going to grab our hook. Now we're going to do a chain, and you're going to chain 2, 3. Let's see how long 20 gives us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Okay. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit bigger. I'm going to chain, let me measure my little chain here. The strap is really dependent on you. Give me 5 inches. So I'm going to chain 41. That should give me about 10 inches. So I got 20. Okay, 41 is just, the one is extra because we're going to be doing single crochet across. Okay, so I chained 41. Yeah, it gave me about 10 inches there for my strap. 9.5 or so. But remember, it's going to go across here, and then you'll do the same amount on the other side. So you can adjust that as you see fit. So before we attach it to our piece here, let's go ahead and move that out of the way. We have to do this first part of the strap. So as much as I do not like to do this, we're going to work in that back bump there of the chain. So in the second stitch from our hook, we're going to single crochet, but we're not going to go into the stitch. We're going to flip it, and if you look, there is one little bump in the back. It's just one little loop. And we're just going to go right into that one little loop. Once you do the first one, the rest are a little bit easier. Go through that one little loop like that. And single crochet. Like that. And now we're going to work all of our single crochets into that one little back bump back there. Now the reason why this is being done is because I'm not going to go back into this chain at all. And this gives the chain a nice clean edge. We're working, instead of working in the front of the chain, we're flipping it to the back, and we're working through that one back bump of each stitch. Like I said, it's not my favorite because it's a little fiddly, but it does make a nice clean edge for when you're not going to be working back into that chain again. Well, for me, I do it when I'm not going to work back in into the chain again. So you can see I'm just going into that one back loop on the back of the chain. Again, here's the front of the chain. If you just flip it, you can see all these little loops. See them? That's what we're going into. One single crochet in each of those until we get to the end. When you get to the end, you should have 40 single crochets, but don't tie off because we're going to attach it to our piece, and we're going to go across that while it's still attached. So one single crochet in the back bump of the chain. If you can't get the back bump, don't worry about it. Just go through the front part. It's not really that big of a deal. It's going to be tied in the back underneath your hair anyways. No one's really going to see it, so it really doesn't matter, I guess. But by going in that back bump, it just gets a little bit cleaner of an edge. All right, I'm going to finish this up. But remember, don't tie off, all right? We're going to be attaching it onto our piece. All right, so you got your chain here. Should be around between 9 and 10 inches. If you know, you can make it bigger, like I said. Get the right side that you want facing you, or to be on top. And we're going to go ahead and attach this now to this piece. So we are going to attach it right here in this chain, this first chain space here. Chain 2 space. We're not going to do anything along the sides. So what you want to do is take it and put your hook through there, grab, pull it through, and single crochet like that. So now you are attached to that. All right. Now we're going to work across our piece. So we're going to put a single crochet into the next 2 doubles. There's 1 and 2. Now we're coming up on a chain 2 space. So let's put 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space. And now we're coming up on a V stitch. So we're going to put 1 single crochet. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to skip the double crochets of the V stitch, and we're just going to work into the chain space, and we're going to work 3 single crochets. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Now, skipping this next double crochet, we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next 5. Hopefully this looks okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Let's take a quick look. Yep, I think that will probably be okay. All right, so we're coming up on a V stitch again from the previous row. So remember, we're not going to put a single crochet in either one of these double crochets. We're just going to jump directly into the chain 3 space and work 3 singles. There's 1, 2, and 3. And we don't do anything with this double, but we put 1 single into the next 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to repeat this all the way across. So here's my V. I'm just going to jump into the chain 3 space and work 3 singles. 1, 2, and 3. Nothing in this part of the V stitch, but these next 5 doubles. 1 single into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's take a quick look. So this is what we're going to do all the way across. I think that's going to be okay. So I will meet back up with you here at this last double V stitch here, this chain space here at the end, and I'll don't tie off because we'll have to make the other end of the chain. All right, see you in a second. All right, so I made it across, and here I am at my last chain 2 space. So I'm just going to put 1 single crochet into that, like that, and now I'm going to chain 41 again. All right, so I chained 41, and we're going to do the same thing that we did over here. You see we're still attached to our piece. So on that back bump, on the second chain from our hook, we're going to do a single crochet, and that's always the hardest one. Well, it is for me. That back bump in the second chain. It's always so fiddly. There we go. And then we're going to work a single crochet in the back bump of every stitch of the chain on this side. You should have the same number of chains. We should have 40 when we get to the end of this chain, like we done it on the other. Not counting any of the ones that we went across the top of the piece with, but so yeah, same thing we did when we first started that first tie or whatever it is chain. I'm just going to continue this until I get to the end, and I'll meet back up with you there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do after that, but maybe we'll do something. Who knows? Maybe not. I'll have to take a quick look at it. All right, so I'm going to continue this all the way down, and I'll meet up with you here at our last chain. Alright, so I've made it to my last chain here. And what we're going to do is just go right back into this space here and slip stitch like that. And then we can tie that off. Alright, so we got our ties on, right? Ties on, ties done. Let's look at it now. Okay. Let's take a quick look. I'm actually going to do one thing, but it's not going to involve the ties. I still have the front side of my work facing me, and I'm going to start over here. We'll hide these tails and get these ties tied on a little bit tighter here in just a second, but I'm going to start in the first single crochet here we did in this chain space. I'm not going to do any of this on the tie, just across the front for decoration. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I'm going to go into it like that, and I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to do twisted single crochet across the top, but remember, I'm not including the ties. So what I'm going to do is go back into that same stitch, and I'm going to draw up a loop. Now I'm going to pull those 2 loops back a little bit further on my hook like that, and I'm just going to take my hook and twist it around like that, and then I'm just going to yarn over and do a single crochet like normal. Now that is the twisted single. It is actually looks identical to the reverse single, or the otherwise known as the crab stitch, only you're not doing it in the opposite direction. You're actually doing it in a forward manner. So I'm going to do that in every single stitch. I'm going to go into the next single crochet, and I'm going to draw up a loop like I would do a single crochet. I'm going to push those loops back here, kind of back to the grip, so they don't get so tight when you twist it. Just take your hook, do a little twist like that, and then pull them back down, yarn over, and single crochet right through those 2 loops. Again, I'm going to go into the next single crochet and drop a loop, pull those loops back here, give your hook a twist, and back down, yarn over, and go through those 2 loops just like a regular single crochet, just like that. And like I said, when you do this across, it gives the exact same appearance as the crab stitch or the reverse single, except for you're not doing it in the reverse. You're doing it in a forward motion and not the reverse. Just make sure you pull your loops back here almost to the grip, otherwise they tend to get tight, and then pull them back to the front, yarn over, and go through the 2 loops that are on your hook. That's my tip for you for doing the twisted single, is when you go in the next stitch and you draw up your loop, make sure you pull those loops back to the thickest part of your hook, and then you do the twist. Otherwise they just get real tight on you, and then pull them forward, and then yarn over and go through the 2 loops, just like that. And I'm going to do this all the way across. Now remember, this is nothing you have to do. You could have left it the way it was, but I just wanted to be different, I guess. Different's always cool sometimes. Sometimes. Yarn's a little splitty on me here. Where am I at? Okay. Going into my next one here. Drop a loop. Pull them back, twist it, go back down, and go through those 2 loops on your hook. I'm going to do this all the way across. And now if you look, you can see the twist that it gives is the exact same look as the crab or the reverse single, but we're doing it in a forward motion, which, trust me, is much easier. But I still do the crab or the reverse single and the crab occasionally. So I'm going to do this all the way across, but I'm not going across the ties that we made. I'm only doing it across the front of the piece. Just like I said, Just to be different, I guess. So I'll meet back up with you if you're doing this. Remember, you don't have to. It's really not hard to go through those two. This yarn I'm using is a little splitty for some reason. Okay. I'm going to go all the way across. And I'll meet up with you here at the end here where we first tied on this, or started this chain over here. Alright, I made it across over here to my last stitch here. Let me look here. Actually, I don't even think I needed to go in that one. I'm just going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the chain here. Okay, there's that. Remember, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I was just added some decoration to the top there. Now, all we have to do is hide all these tails, so you can take over here with the strap, first strap we put on was, just to give it a, make it a little bit more secure. Take the tail from it, and make sure it's laying straight. Just kind of sew it on here a couple times, like that. There we go. And then you can flip it to the back and hide the tail as normal, however you would usually hide your tails. And you just want to go across and hide all the tails that you have that are remaining. And then you'll be done. That one I already hid when I was crocheting. So put that one off. That one off. Alright, so here we have that side is done. And then I'll hide my tails on this side and my bottom tail. I'll meet back up with you. Alright, there it is. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you make this, show me a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. I'd really like to see what colors you use, what color of yarns you use. I'm going to go ahead and set mine up on my mannequin. I can show you how to do that if you'd like, if you don't mind my messy background here. But let's see if I can get this up here. Give me 1 second. And okay, so I'm gonna try. I don't know if I can do it one-handed. Basically, these ties, they just tie behind like this in like a little bow or a little knot, however you want to do it. Of course, it'll be tighter when I tie. I just can't do it one-handed. Let me go ahead and do it. But so they go around like that, and they tie underneath the back side. So let me do that real quick. Kind of, you know, underneath your hair, underneath the back of your head. Okay, there you go. My mannequin needs a hairbrush. But yeah, so it's just tied underneath her. And as you can see, it just comes into the back. And like I said, there's different sizes you can do. I think that's a pretty nice size though for an adult, you know. But of course you can make it bigger. And then it'll be hanging down a little bit longer in the back. I don't really know how people wear these. I don't wear them. But, gosh, my hand. I need a new wig for my mannequin. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That like button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.